for next meeting.
All right, welcome everybody to the City Commission meeting of July 12th, 2022. I call this meeting to order. Val, please call the roll.
Commissioner Penny?
Here.
Commissioner Curry? Commissioner Danio?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Mayor Villa?
Here. And I will ask you all to please stand for the invocation and continue standing afterwards for the Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today to ask for your blessings upon this meeting. I ask for your blessing and your guidance on this commission, dear Lord, as we continue to move this city forward. Dear Lord, always protect our first responders, our cops and our firefighters, and our community members. Please make us prosperous and help us to get along, to understand one another, and move forward. Dear Lord, we pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you all. We have a very, very long meeting today. As you can see on our agenda, we have 2 items tonight. But thank you all for attending tonight, and we're going to start off with our public comments. And let me remind everybody that you will have 5 minutes, and if you sit down, you are not able to come back up during public comments. You can speak on other items, but everyone is allowed 5 minutes to speak, and public comments will be about anything not on our regular agenda tonight. So is there anyone who wishes to speak to the commission tonight? Yes, sir. I just ask for your name and address for the record. And then you have
Raymond
5
Webb,
minutes.
Kenco Signs, 1539 Garden Avenue. Evening, folks. I've been discussing we're applying for a permit right now, building a commercial building across the street from my facility, and a situation came up regarding a sidewalk, which there are none. I understand there was something passed here with regards to a sidewalk fund, and that if I don't have a sidewalk, I must pay into the fund. With the rising cost of all the construction values right now, because the permit has taken a lot longer than I figured, I asked that deal be foregone based on the fact that up and down Garden Avenue, there are no sidewalks planned or there at any point. If I put sidewalks on my property, they'd be the only ones there. That's where I'm at.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Webb. Right now, this is public comment, and so we will address what you just brought up right after public comments. Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak? Mr. Legary? Okay. Thought you raised your hand. Okay. Okay. There we go. Name and address for the record.
Jim Legary, 342 Burley. Good evening. I noticed we're having these budget workshops, and in the little bit of reading that I did to them, still nobody has heard me asking for somebody to have on staff or whatever for public outreach. I know you've heard me say that before, so it's not new, but I wanted to bring it up while we're talking about budgets again.
Thank you, Mr. Legary. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like? Yes, sir. Former Commissioner Blaze.
Commissioner Blaze, 710 Magnolia Avenue. 4th of July, I drove by City Hall, and I can remember the days we had a lot of American flags from one end of that property to the other. Well, I didn't see them this year. Maybe we can do better next year. We are an MIA city. As a youth, I had veterans that trained me in the Boy Scout movement. I became a veteran, and I was trained by the greatest generation. I was proud to be an American. And I ended up going to school on a GI Bill, and I was proud of my country that compensated me with GI Bill. I finished my bachelor's degree, I picked up another bachelor's degree, and then I picked up a master on the omnibus crime bill, and I served this city. Gentlemen, think of next year, 4th of July, have our flags out and have a banner to let the people know we are real American. And I was a real American in the service, regular Army, real American, 14791-314. Thank you. And you know what? We should have a few seconds of silence for our Holly Hill veterans that died in Vietnam.
Yes, sir. If we could all join in a moment of silence.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Blaze. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak to the commission tonight? Seeing none, I'll close public comments. And just a couple quick things to address. Mr. Webb, you brought up the sidewalk fund. As I understand it, Mr. Forte, he's developing a new location in Holly Hill on, is it on Garden?
Garden Avenue. Yeah.
Is there a waiver process in our current ordinance to waive that requirement?
Not that I'm aware of. This goes back to, I think, somewhere around 1997, where, and Ray said it pretty accurate, typically a new construction is required to put a sidewalk in front of their property that's being developed. In some cases, it's a sidewalk to nowhere, meaning that there's no connector. And in those cases, if there's no connector to a sidewalk, the development review manager requires that they make a contribution into the sidewalk fund, which would be somewhere in the neighborhood of what the estimated cost would be for a sidewalk. And then it goes into the city's fund where we would put it toward other sidewalk construction or rehabilitation elsewhere in the city.
Okay. And so for over a quarter of a century, this has been on the books as an ordinance, and any property that comes along to develop has to go through this same process, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, Mr. Webb, there is no waiver process for this commission to override that unless a city commissioner wanted to completely change the ordinance for new buildings. That would be the only way that happens. And right now, that's not before us. But just so this commission knows, that would be the only route. And so if you want to bring that up, we would have to bring that up in a future meeting. I would suggest get with Mr. Forte to get with him to bring this up to the city commission. But at this time, being that this law has been in place for well over 25 years or so, I'm not in favor of taking and changing that ordinance. So if anyone else has a comment, I will freely let you speak. If not, we'll move on. All right. And a couple other things. Mr. Blaze, you are right. We are a patriotic city, and as you know, we are building our Veterans Memorial out there. It's taken a lot longer than we wanted to, with a lot of backups with the granite company and finding a competent builder to be able to do it. But it is moving forward, and we're really excited about that, and we look forward to hosting many of these events.
Mayor, I will remind you all.
Very quickly, because I can't let you speak from...
4th of July.
Yeah, just remind me before the next 4th of July. I don't see any reason why we couldn't put flags out by the street. I think we've done that before, and I think, Commissioner Penny, it was your idea to do that on certain holidays, maybe Veterans Day. I think you brought that up, putting up little flags out by the road. American.
No, we actually changed the color of the fountain for cancer awareness.
Okay, I thought there was a flag thing that you, okay. Well, thank you, I appreciate that. And lastly, Mr. Legary, I just wanted to address that. Today, we had our first budget meeting, and it was about the water and waste water and sewer and solid waste. So that has not came up in talks, and but we will consider that moving forward. All right, now we'll move on with the rest of our meeting. We'll move to the approval of the minutes from the June 28th, 2022 regular city commission meeting. Can I have a motion for approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion for approval from Vice Mayor Penny, a second from Commissioner, which one? Johnson? Second from Commissioner Johnson. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the commission about the minutes tonight? Seeing none, I'll close public participation. We always allow people to speak on every item that we vote on, and we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Now moving to our consent agenda, we only have one item on the consent agenda tonight. Unless a city commissioner wants to pull it, there will be no discussion that occurs on this item. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this item tonight? Yes, ma'am. And you'll have 5 minutes, and just name and address for the record.
Christina, Christina, Bolin, B as in boy, Olin of Holly Hill. 5 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm not against capital improvements, nor am I against safety measures. I feel the community could better benefit from the allocated funds applied for. Unfortunately, I was unaware of the Community Development Block Grant meeting that took place on March 30th, which would have allowed for the discussion of ideas, to potentially benefit the community. That said, I believe you all should evaluate the means of which the public meetings are advertised within the community. Roughly, there's around 12,000 residents in Holly Hill, yet your government Facebook page has a following of less than 10% of the population, and only 3 entities were acknowledged the post. Mind you, it was a one-time only post made on March 16th. 2 of those were officials, and of course your Facebook page. I just find it very hard to believe the public had been properly informed regarding the meeting when it's been stated only 2 people showed up. The application, it notes that there's a high concentration of students that walk and ride bikes to and from school throughout the school year, and noted statistics from 2013.
Oh, can you speak more, sorry, can you speak more into the mic?
Oh,
Just,
yeah,
it's
sure.
for the recording.
This isn't cutting into my time, right?
No, you're good.
Okay. So, however, most of the children in the 2 schools, a part of this anticipated grant, are much younger than teenagers. It's stated the FDOT standards are to have uniform markings and signage, and mentioned our area is basically subpar. Personally, I think the signs that we have and the markings are fine. But as a longtime resident, I'm very familiar with the area and the city. So I ask, have you actually taken a look at the needs of the area? These kids walk and ride and skate on a daily basis throughout the school year. The sidewalks are in poor condition and pose a risk to these young kids, so why not invest in repairing those? As for restriping the roads that truly need it is 15th Street from Center westward to Nova, and a small portion on the north side of Flomish to Kansas Street. The yellow lines in those 2 locations are very worn. In regards to Ross Park Point, the driveway parking is there at the park. It's paving over the road is not going to enhance the park for patrons. It's not. It'll attract the sun, and rainwater will be unable to soak into the ground easily. And I'm curious on how many incident occurrences have been reported due to the unpaved area of the park, be it somebody getting hurt or vehicular damage taking place within the last 11 years. And I'm curious about the average cost of the materials to regrade the road discreetly, approximately once a year. As to safety and hazardous concerns, would you not agree that potential funding would be better off spent to revitalize the existing dock with new wood and add a fence similar in nature to the one at Sunrise Park, located north of Ross Point, around the park's perimeter to prevent and deter small children from potentially falling into the water, as well as reduce the possibility of patrons experiencing injuries such as splinters or tripping and falling due to aging wood on the existing dock? And I saw the city intends to employ the interlocal agreement to bring the Holly Hill School Zone up to standards. I see one of your goals as a commission is to provide public health and safety services, including, fire and protection, private sector partnerships, utilization technologies, et cetera, which is definitely a good thing. However, I also see a big focus on your goals having to do with water, stormwater, wastewater, solid waste management, disaster preparedness, with a focus being on intergovernmental collaborations, which leads me to question your overall intent, considering the bigger picture of things taking place in the city and the discussions had. a well-known fact that the interlocal agreements in place serves purposes to distribute water throughout the various parts of the cities and the county in the form of reclaimed water. It's also known that the city currently has 3 planned development projects which are within a mile or so of the Holly Hill School, planned to have a total of 205 new residences and X amount of RVs that will ultimately affect the current infrastructure. It's also known that at least one of these projects will need to be septic if the applied financial grant is not approved by the HOR, and whether or not that site will be hooked up to reclaimed water as well, I'm uncertain. But I do know that a near development project from the school will be hooked up to reclaimed water, and this area within the school is proposed to be connected to those lines. So it seems to me this commission is not taking into consideration the effects that these projects, unthought out spending propositions, and lack of care of residential concerns are perpetuating. I fully understand every project grant situation is different considered individualized matters, and when I look at it as a whole, these plans and the city's actions are all interlinked. With growth come change. This is understood, but you all are negligently misappropriating authority, in my opinion, and obstructing more than just the voices of your constituents.
And I took 10 seconds of your time, so you can continue
Okay.
can you wrap it up?
I can.
Okay, thank you.
So when it comes to water supply, stormwater drainage, flooding, I feel that you all have been turning a blind eye, not taking into consideration the consequences of allowing for stormwater drainage, utility easement obstruction, rapid growth that will ultimately increase stormwater runoff, low-lying slopes of land, and in one way or another interlink via channels, ditches, drains, and can only hold so much. So let alone the impact of more vehicles on the driven roads, overcrowded schools, few parks, little business establishments, the history of certain portions of select streets and areas flooding over due to severe weather and lack of proper drainage and or ignorance that allows for a necessity of obstruction. Growth is good, capital improvements are good, but only when managed and planned correctly. And the impact of our environment, the infrastructure, water supplies, to include the need for added chemicals and sewer services and the increased usage of other area utilities such as electric should all be accounted for prior to approving projects. And meetings shouldn't just simply be a formality. So I ask, how is our community to trust our interests as a whole are in good hands and that our water supply is proper and not contaminated crap water when you all do not encourage community involvement, trample upon residents' rights, and practically shun those in attendance at public participation meetings? So on that note, I request that you all seriously reconsider your future CDBG plans, the current wanted application approval, and to stop ignoring the real issues in the community, listen to concerns, ideas, and truths, and encourage community involvement, rectify, settle any and all errors on your part, and properly announce meetings to everyone in the general public that may or may not have social media, so that those who would like their voices heard can actually participate, and work on building your social media following. You can start by caring about the residents of this city.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak to the commission about anything, or not anything, about this CDBG annual plan? Yes, ma'am. And 5 minutes.
Good evening, Don Bolin, 1716 Center Avenue, Holly Hill. Well, Christina Bolin has covered a great deal of ground and presented a lot of excellent information. As you may already know, my position regarding the discussion would be quite a bit different. You may recall on July 14th of 2020, I discussed my concerns regarding the interlocal agreement and the status of the EPA as it was related to the reclaimed water project.
Is this specifically on the CDBG?
This is related to the CBD
Okay.
plan with regards to the, I understand meeting is regarding the CDBG funding, project funding regarding the Ross Point project, paving project, the school sign project, as purported under the DOT 2021 school zone signs and zoning changes. While the official attempts to imply that the outreach meeting was held on March 30th to gather eligible project ideas and the subrecipients for topics that are of a concern, and identifying what the CDBG eligible projects funds could be used for as far as the March 30th, the project in and of itself was predetermined 2 years ago. The interlocal agreement and the Exhibit A of the project application for the school zone improvements clearly provide on pages 49 and 50 of the project. It's more consistent with the Zone 4 reclaimed water project. And with regards to that, as the 810 census tract involves the city of Holly Hill and the street map beneficiary area, and the beneficiary area is located with the 810 census tract, involves the couple of questions that I have on the Zone 4 reclaimed water project is the Walker Street 17B pump. My question is it being utilized for potable water connection at Walker near the school? And if that is potable water versus the reclaimed water, what service areas does it consist of? Is it for the school situation? Is it from Walker to Flomish as far as the 17B pump? With the overall project funding grant connected to the reclaimed water project in Zone 4, and it already involved the activity regarding the matters of the stormwater easement and the preservation of the easement, which is still consistent with code violations, with having the inside information regarding the activities related to the reclaimed water distribution zone, it also appears now that the streets of Eagle Drive and Peacock Road are located in Zone 1 with regards to the potable water zone and not the Zone 4 reclaimed water zone. And with regards to that, the UBIC school location, part of the funding project, is on the east side of Center. So at this point, I also question the Center Street connection pursuant to where the pump is located on the Birmingham, Kansas area with regards to the reclaimed Zone 4 water. As the letter that I presented July 5th, due to the lack of the attorney willingness to settle the matter in November of 2020, simply to reverse the stormwater permit, or the permit that's part of the easement, pursuant to Section 768-28, Florida Statute 6A, the Department of Financial Services provided an exception that no notice was supposed to be given to the Department of Financial Services regarding the judicial rulings of dismissing it without prejudice. In March 12th, 2021, second judge did the same thing. She ruled that the notice was failed with regards to the Department of Financial Services. At this point, with regards to the CDBG project funding, and it also involves the beneficiary area, I would like to schedule a special meeting with regards to the covenants and restrictions in Block 5 related to the easement and the restrictions. I don't know how many permits that the city of Holly Hill has issued with regards to fence permits, but the property owners are impacted in Block 5 with stormwater throughout that easement, including myself. With regards to, unfortunately, because the attorney in Orlando would not settle the easement case with regards to that, and related to the CDBG funding, in the event that we don't have a settlement in July with regards to this, the case has no choice but to be set for trial the first week of August based on this information. The restrictions and covenants can be amended to just clear it up. The Senate Bill 1520 provided a property owner can deal with the exception to preserve that easement for additional 30 years. So to that extent, and
Can you
with
please wrap
regards
it
to
up,
this
Ms.
funding,
Bullen?
if the stormwater matter is not settled, it will have to be noticed to trial, and HUD, the Housing and Urban Development, would be notified with regards to this grant funding application, which is a major issue. If there's any way to schedule a special meeting, I would definitely appreciate to discuss this matter at a different time.
Thank you, Ms. Bullen.
Thank you.
Yes. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak to the commission about this CDBG annual plan application? Seeing none, I'll close public participation, and I'll entertain a motion for approval.
We're not discussing it?
Yeah, we can discuss after.
Afterwards? Oh.
Well, technically, it's not polled. Would you like to poll it for discussion?
Oh, no. Okay, we had our chance, all right. We're looking for a motion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. It's a consent agenda item that requires no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries 4-0. We have nothing on our regular agenda tonight, nothing on our public hearings, so we'll move to communications. Mr. Forte, do you have anything for us tonight?
I have 2 items.
Okay, before you go there, let me just address a few things. I wanted you guys to continue tonight. I know some of this was not directly in with this, the item that we were discussing, but I know you both feel passionately, and I wanted you to be able to have your chance to speak to us. And I just want to say that, there were some things said about the commission about maybe not caring or not seeing everything. I will say that we're not superhuman, but I will say that we all care, and we are all doing our best that we can to our ability, to what our charter says that we can and cannot do. And furthermore, with that, I speak with citizens almost on a daily basis about ideas, about problems, about solutions, and I would love to talk to you guys about that. You do have, Christina, you have very valid ideas, valid concerns and questions. At a commission meeting the night of isn't a time for question and answers, but you can certainly, I would love for you to, I know you typed up everything there. If you could email that over to me, I'll go through a lot of those points. Some of the points that you made were not factually correct, and I'd love to give you more information on that, because I know that you all have ideas. I know that you're passionate. I know that you love our city, and we all want the same thing here. We all want better for our community. And, I've always been a proponent of, look, take in all ideas. Not all ideas are going to be the one that we go with, but it's going to make us better. So I have open ears. I would encourage you to do that. I read everything on Facebook, so I see a lot of it already. But I would love to have communication with you about that. Mrs. Bullen, Dawn, I know you're both Bullen, but as to one of the main concerns, I haven't responded to your text in over a year about the one issue that was being handled by your attorney and the insurance attorney, and I'm not going to discuss that matter anymore. And I've told staff that if they can handle that, they have reached out to the insurance attorney, but I want you to know that's on that item. I will speak to you about other things, and we can speak after this meeting as well. But I just publicly want to say that I don't want you all to go away here feeling that you're not being heard or that we don't care. That is not what is happening. But I would love to talk more, and I'm sure that the commissioners would as well. And if there's questions that we don't know, we will refer you to staff members to get those answers as well. So I just wanted to directly address that. Mr. Forte, if there's anything you wanted to address in either one of those presentations, if there were answers, you could do that, or use your time now to bring up your items.
I'll give you the 2 items that I had. The first was that there is a community leaders forum that's coming from the YMCA. One is on July 21st, which is a Thursday at 5:30 at Cornerstone Boulevard in Daytona, and the other is July 26th at DeLand YMCA, and they're seeking input from the community leaders. I was invited to go to this, but both of those days I'm not available. I don't know if anybody on the commission wants to go, but they're looking for an RSVP on attendance. Is anybody interested in going to that?
I haven't decided yet. We have till the 15th to decide.
After the 15th to decide. So just want to at least make everybody aware of that. And lastly, I keep trying to, Commissioner Penny keeps reminding me that I haven't made a notice available to everybody, but Diane Cole is retiring in January, probably the 3rd week of January. And we're going to, I've interviewed 3 people, and I'm going to be bringing who you may know, Janine Witt, who is the city manager of Ponce Inlet, doesn't want to be a city manager anymore, and she's put her notice in there. We're going to bring her back here into Holly Hill to serve as our human resources manager.
She was city clerk, correct?
She was originally city clerk here prior to Val, and then she went off to Titusville and then to Ponce Inlet as a city manager. So she wants out of the manager business, and this is an opportunity where she can share her professionalism and expertise, and I think it'd be beneficial to the city. I just want to make you all aware that she'll be back.
Did you already make her an offer?
Yeah, she's going to start this, I think the 1st or 2nd week of November.
Okay, wow. All right, is that everything?
That's it.
All right. Vice Mayor, what do you have for us tonight? You wanted to be home early. Yeah, Commissioner Danio. Oh, I skipped our attorney. I'll come after.
No takebacks.
You have anything?
No, I'm just glad to be back.
All right. Commissioner Johnson?
I just want to let you know that Volusia Sports Center is going kind of slow, but it is still coming along. And the baseball season is starting for the kids, so hopefully they'll all come together at the right time. I believe we'll probably have it open maybe in September, maybe. Depends on if I run out of money or not.
I see a lot of stuff happening, so it's,
Costing a lot of money on that.
there you go. Mr. Simpson, did you have anything
I will let you know, I will not be at the next meeting.
at the next meeting?
Yep.
Okay,
Lobster season,
Lobster season.
okay,
annual.
all right. Mrs. Manning, anything for us tonight? All right. I have nothing further tonight. I want to thank you all for being here. And with that, is there anything further before the City Commission? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.